Hey everybody, as promised, I am here with part 2 of my June book haul. I know, I'm a bit late. However, I am telling you it is well worth it because I have a stack of books here that is almost certainly going to wind up every one of them on your TBR. So, without further ado, we should get started. Hi everybody and welcome back to my channel. It's Russell with Ink and Paper Blog. How are you doing today? As always, I hope you're happy, I hope you're healthy, I hope you're safe, and I hope you're reading an amazing book or 2 or 3 or 4. I am doing okay. The weather has finally cooled down a little bit. It's definitely summer here in Northern California. It feels wonderful. Lots of good sunshine time, taking the dogs out and all of that. Work is crazy, as always. It's just going to be that way for the rest of my life, I have a feeling, but that is okay. I love it. But we are still in the process of getting our house ready to sell. We are going to be moving, hopefully soon. We are working on it really, really hard. But what I am not working on is packing all these books because let me tell you, that is a job that just intimidates me. And this is only half. This is only half of the books in my house, y'all. So yeah, I am not looking forward to that, but it will get done, I promise. As I had said in my first book haul video, I was sent so many amazing books in June that I have to tell you about them in 2 videos. So let's get started. Get out that paper, get out that pen, get out that Goodreads, however you keep track of your TBR. As always, if you are able, order 1 or 2 of these books from your local independent bookstores. And if you are a library user, get your library to get you a copy right away. So the first 2 books that were sent to me actually are the paperback editions. So they are already out in hardback and they have just come out in paperback, so you can get your hands on them. And the first one is This Town Sleeps by Dennis E. Staples. And this is out from Counterpoint Press. And so this book takes place on Ojibwe reservation. I Googled that, so I apologize if I'm not saying it exactly correct. Ojibwe reservation. We have 2 main characters. We have an Ojibwe male who is in a secret relationship with another man, a white man who's deeply, deeply in the closet. And then one day, he is out walking home late at night and this spirit of this dog takes him to the gravesite of a young Ojibwe man who died when he was like 17. He was like a basketball player. And as our main character starts to investigate that, he sort of comes to terms with secrets and also a legend that sort of maybe will help him put his own world in order. Does that make sense? My friend Ryan from Read by Ryan read this when it first came out. He has told me it is very, very good and that I will like it. So I'm very excited to get to it. So that's This Town Sleeps by Dennis E. Staples out from Counterpoint Press. Okay, now going over to our friends at Catapult, it's Black Sunday by Tola, Rotimi, Abraham. I feel like this book got a lot of amazing press when it came out. And this is the story of 2 twin sisters who live with their brothers and their parents in Lagos. The family gets mixed up with this religious leader and this church, and the religious leader convinces the father to invest their home on this surefire bet to make money, because this religious leader is very, very into earning money in growing the capital of his religion. Unfortunately, that investment goes horribly wrong. They lose their house, and the 4 children are sent to their grandmother, who is a traditional Yoruba grandmother, is what it says on the back. And what happens is, as the family falls apart, these 2 sisters who were very, very close start to drift apart and have their own sort of stories and their own worlds open up. And they have to sort of figure out, how are they going to be independent of each other? How are they going to protect their own sort of center of power and grow from this experience? I've heard nothing but rave reviews about this, so thank you very, very much, Catapult, for Black Sunday by Tola, Rotimi, Abraham. And again, it's out in paperback now. You can get your hands on it as we speak. Okay. I have to be honest with you, I am really worried about saying this author's name, so I'm going to do my best. But this is In the Watchful City by S. Qiouyi, and I apologize, I am not saying that correct. I'm pretty sure there. This comes out from Tor.com in August. This is a science fiction sort of futuristic tale of a city called Aura that uses this living network called the Gleaming to protect its citizens. And there are people who use the Gleaming to do this. And that is our main character, Anime. Now, Anime takes pride and wants to protect the city, and definitely is like invested in the role that Anime has in this city. Unfortunately, one day this man enters from outside the city with these artifacts, and as they sort of become discussed, things start to sort of fall apart. Is what's outside going to ruin what's inside this beautiful city? And Anime has to make a choice. And the question really comes down is, what kind of city is a city who cannot protect its people? I'm really excited about this. I think this sounds fantastic. I actually think this cover is beautiful. So that's In the Watchful City by Qiouyi, out from Tor.com, and this comes out in August. I don't know if do I have an actual date? August 31st, so very end of August, practically September. Okay, and now from Tor's Nightfire line, which is their horror line. I talked about this in my science fiction fantasy summer TBR list. It actually doesn't come out until October, which is perfect for the type of book that it is, because I feel it's going to be as creepy as heck. And that's Nothing But Blackened Teeth by Cassandra Khaw, out from Nightfire. This comes out, do I have an actual date? October, just October, it says on the back. Okay, so this is about a house that this group of people rent for a wedding. And when they get there, things do not go the way that they should. And it actually turns out that the house itself has its own secrets. And there is this ghost bride. I love the way it says it. I love it. It just says, lurking in the shadows is the ghost bride with a black smile and a hungry heart. And she gets lonely down there in the dark. So this is Cassandra Khaw's Nothing But Blackened Teeth, out from Nightfire in October of 2021, which I would say is really far away, but the way 2021 is going, it will be here before we know it. Okay, this is actually a really fun collection of short stories. This comes out in September. Let me see if I have an actual date. I don't. So September, and that's Beasts and Beauty, Dangerous Tales by Soman, Chainani. I'm going to hold that up there for you. These are 12 stories that are retakes or reinventions of tales you probably already know. For example, what if the prince is the one that awakes? What if Beauty fights like a beast? What if Little Red Riding Hood is the predator and not the prey? Just look at that. That's just so good. So what happens if all of these tales we think we know are flipped? What if we flip the script? It actually has some amazing art in it too. Like, I just think that it has sort of like this fairy tale-ish art in it as well. Let me see if it tells me who did the art, because I want to make sure that I give that person credit as well. Illustrated by Julia Iredell, Iredal. Okay, and again, this comes out in September 28th. There was a piece of paper in there to help me out with that. So that's Beasts and Beauty, Dangerous Tales by Soman, Chainani. This is out from Harper, and you can get your hands on it September. So make sure you pre-order this one. I think that may be a fun book for Halloween as well. It's towards the end, right? Sort of towards the end. Okay, the next book I want to tell you about is out from Ecco. That's Esther Freud's I Couldn't Love You More. And this book is one of those, these are the ones that I always have a hard time summarizing because there's a generational jump in there. So we have Aoife Kelly, once the sparkling object of a young man's affection, runs pubs with her brusque, barking husband, Cash, whom she met in wartime London before returning to Ireland with her daughters in tow. So one of their daughters is an independent young woman named Rosaline. She moves back to London in the 1960s. She gets involved with a famous sculptor, Felix, and he is a German Jewish refugee artist over twice her age. So she's like 18 and he's like twice her age. And she winds up getting pregnant, and she winds up getting sort of expelled from her home, expelled from everything that she knows. And she doesn't know where to turn because she doesn't want to bring this sort of darkness to her family's door. And then in another generation down, Kate lives in present-day London with her young daughter and husband, an unsuccessful musician and destructive alcoholic. Adopted and floundering to find a sense of herself in the mists of an unhappy marriage, Kate sets out to track down her birth mother, a search that leads her to Magdalena Laundry in Ireland and the harrowing history that it holds. I think this sounds really good. I just love one of those family stories. You know that this part's going to connect to this part, but we're going to get all of it in pieces together, and it's going to allow us as the reader to put it together. Just love all of that. So that's Esther Freud's I Couldn't Love You More. This is out from Ecco, and it actually comes out in July. Let me see if I have an actual date. Nope, it just says July 2021. Nope, nothing in here. But that is like right around the corner because it's now, people. It's going to be out before we know it. And I think that sounds fantastic. Okay, the next book is one of probably the most anticipated books of the year because when Colm Toibin puts out a book, everybody wants to read it. This is The Magician, but I will tell you, The Master by Mr. Toibin literally blew my mind when I read it. And I must have been maybe out of college. I wasn't old enough to appreciate how brilliant it was, but I have loved everything that I have read by Colm Toibin, to be honest with you. And this comes out on September 7th here in the US. Thank you so much, Scribner, for sending me this early copy. The Magician is a reimagination of the life of Thomas Mann as he is writing his novella, Death in Venice. And that's all I really need to know, to be honest with you, because I love, love, love a book that reimagines the life of any author at any point in their life. And I just love them so very, very much. And Colm Toibin, he's just a brilliant master of the form. I just saw a couple of videos out, like people predicting the Booker nominations this year. I think it's way too early to do that, and I'm never, ever, ever good at it. But I think he's been nominated like 4 times, and I don't believe he's actually won. So that's just me off the top of my head. I'm pretty sure he hasn't won, but I do know he's had some nominations, and he is brilliant. So that's Colm Toibin's The Magician. This is out in the US on September 7th from Scribner Books. Thank you so much, Scribner, for sending me that early copy. Okay, this book just came out in mid-June, and that is The Confessions of Copeland Kane by Keenan Norris, and this is out from my friends at Unnamed Press. I am going to need a little help on this one because there's a lot going on in this book. So Copeland Kane, the child who fell out of colored people's time and into America, is a fugitive. He is also just a regular teenager coming up in a terrifying world. A slightly eccentric, flip phone-loving kid with analog tendencies and a sideline hustling sneakers. The boundaries of Copeland's life are demarcated from the jump by urban toxicity, an education apparatus while confounding intentions, and the police state that is merged with media conglomerates. The highly rated insurgency alert desk that surveils and harasses his neighborhood in the name of anti-terrorism. Recruited by the nearby private school, even as he and his folks face eviction, Copeland is doing his darndest to do right by himself for himself. And yet the forces at play entrap him in a reality that chews up his past and obscures his future. Well, I think this cover is rather fantastic. This is art, right? This is just plain old art. I think this book sounds fantastic. I just used fantastic twice. So there you go, Keenan Norris. This is The Confession of Copeland Kane, out now from Unnamed Press. You can get your hand on it as we speak. Okay. The next book is a bit of nonfiction that was actually sent to me by Grey Wolf Press that I am really intrigued with, and that's On Compromise: Art, Politics, and the Fate of an American Ideal by Rachel Greenwald Smith. Now, this is a collection of essays where she, Rachel Greenwald Smith, argues against contemporary liberal society's tendency to view compromise as an unallied good, politically, ethically, and artistically. In these essays, she explores the dangers of thinking about compromise as an end rather than as a mean. So I think that this is a conversation that my husband and I have a lot in our house regarding compromise, and how compromise sometimes a lot of the time, gets in the way of actually the desired result. So I'm fascinated by the idea of this collection of essays. So that's On Compromise by Art, Politics, and the Fate of an American Ideal by Rachel Greenwald Smith. And this comes out on August 3rd, 2021. And you can get your hands on it. I think that sounds really, really fascinating. Last but not least, a little historical fiction. This was actually just in my historical fiction TBR video, but that's A Woman of Intelligence by Karen Tanabe. This is out on July 20th from St. Martin's Press. So we have Catherine West. This book starts sort of in the 1940s. She is brought in as a member of the United Nations to be a translator. And that's sort of where her career starts. But 15 years later or so, she's married, she has children, she's living this very illustrious life. But is it sort of giving her everything that she needs? Well, the FBI come a-calling, and they need her. They need her to infiltrate the world of an old acquaintance friend of hers who has become a Soviet spy. And there is concern that there's no one able to do this other than this woman. She's the only one that can do it. And you know how I feel about a spy book. You know how I feel about a woman just going in and take care of business. I'm super excited about this. It's only arrived in my house a couple of weeks ago. I'm throwing it in here because I know there's a lot of you out there that will want to read it. So that's A Woman of Intelligence by Karen Tanabe, out from St. Martin's Press. And I apologize, Karen, if I am saying your name right. Wrong, your last name. I will say, ironically enough, or interestingly enough, I dated a Karen in high school, and this is exactly how she spelled her name. So has a little soft spot in my heart. A Woman of Intelligence, Karen Tanabe, out July 20th from St. Martin's Press. So I promised you a pretty amazing stack of books, and I hope that you would say I did not let you down. I'm going to try to put these up here. You know how this always goes for me. It's always a little bit of a crapshoot. So there you go. Those are the books that we talked about today. As always, if you are a return subscriber, I thank you so, so much. I could not do this without you. If you are new to my channel, I hope you subscribe and you stay around and you like the videos you see and you read all of these books I talk about. As always, I encourage you to read globally, shop locally, and until next time, I wish you happy reading. Bye, everyone.